Hello, BookTube. Doing a little experiment here with the handy cam. The other day, Adam Mentamori, I'm sure you're all subscribed to his channel. He's been making videos again, and he did a video, a fascinating one, about books as physical objects. The books in his collection and where they sit in his collection and how they sit in his collection. And he invited everybody who has a BookTube channel to make a similar video, and a couple of people have. And I thought I would too, even though I have nothing in the way of technical ability and no ability to edit. But his video got me thinking, because my refrain forever and ever has been, you've heard it on this channel, has been that I don't care about books as physical objects. And I realized when I was watching his video, when he was saying, you know, we all collect books, I realized that is true. It's certainly true for me. And what I should say, the more precise version of what I should say, is that I don't care about books as collectible items. I don't care about first editions, I don't care about rare editions, I don't care about anything like that. I don't care about their monetary value at all. Either to buy or to resell or on the open market or whatever. I don't care about their monetary value at all. I've had people look at some of my books and say, you know, I realize you got this for $3 at the Brattle, and I realize you don't care about how much it's worth, but this is actually worth money. You could convert this into money. But of course I do care about books as physical objects, because most of my books are physical objects, and I do have a preference. If you show me two different editions of, I don't even know, My Antonia, if you show me two different editions, I am going to prefer one to the other. It's not like I'm totally indifferent to them. So I thought I would do a books on my shelf little glimpse here. A couple of people have been doing that. It's not quite a bookshelf tour. We're doing one of those. It bids fair to go on forever until the crack of doom. But rather a look at my books on their shelves. And I'm going to use this little book room because these are the books that I care about much more than the others. If some sort of science fiction catastrophe were to suddenly disappear the other rooms of books here at Hyde Cottage, I would say, oh, that's too bad. I should probably go to the Brattle and start replacing those. but that would be very different if the books in this room disappeared. This is my little book room. And these are the books that I consult. They're the books I go to. And you're not, some of you, the more orderly minded of you, are not particularly going to like the organization in here because it isn't uniform. I've been looking at some people who have their bookshelves organized to a fare thee well. All the books by the same author together, fiction and lumped with fiction, nonfiction lumped with nonfiction, everything alphabetized. Oh my God, I don't do that. But I thought we'd start in this. I'm going to try this here. I thought we'd start with this bookcase here. This is, of course, aside from this top shelf has some Norton Critical editions, has some UK editions, a Lord of the Rings, a few other things. But aside from that top shelf, this bookcase is romance. All the way down to the bottom. Those bottom two shelves are modern romances. So, oh no, I picked one that wasn't. Oh no, I picked one on the wrong shelf here. These are modern romances. The bigger, more ornate things that are more sexually explicit, much more common slang, no real period research. Whereas these things are Signet Regency romances. And will you look at how many of them I have? I have 3 whole shelves of them, with more on the floor underneath that Superboy thing. There are more on the floor waiting to be organized. So that, we'll start there. And now we're going to try. Okay, this thing here is the shoulder bag on the hook on the back of the door. Then we have what have we got here? Oh yes, the 2 bookcases that are mostly book reviews, right down to the floor, mostly book reviews. With a few exceptions. There's Bigfoot and Stella Luna, and this is see, this is the nightmare of what I was talking about, because these aren't organized. You've got Alexander Dumas, you've got art books, books on ravens. You've got these Oxford World Classics, a couple of Bigfoots, a shark, all the way down to the bottom there, and then let's see here. Then there's this bookcase in the corner here. Are we going to be able to make this out? I'm not very good at videography. This is yet more miscellaneous stuff all the way down to the floor and all the way up top there. So you've got some history. You've got Moby Dick, 1,000 books to read before you die. Then you have the Penguin Wall. And the Penguin Wall is organized, of course. You've got Penguin Classics, just from, you've got the deluxes and the hardcovers, and then Penguin Classics from top to bottom. along with props from when I film in this room. There's Wilson the penguin, and somewhere on this shelf we can see Elsa. Yes, there she is, the octopus, and the luminaries. And the penguins keep going on into this corner here. Some candles. We had a blackout a little while ago, and I realized I was running low on candles. And then you get more miscellaneous books. See? From top all the way to the floor, more miscellaneous books. I love them all, but they're all miscellaneous. This shelf here is Kennedy books and some Taft books, but then it goes right back to being miscellaneous. Then you have a pile of blankets right here at the foot of the bed, and underneath that pile of blankets is my footlocker that I traveled the world with. Then you have the little monk's bed, a little banker's lamp on the top there, and my MacBook, and the window. Let's see here. How are we doing? See, it's just an organizer's nightmare because there's more miscellaneous stuff. That bookcase right here is miscellaneous. This one here is miscellaneous. That one there is miscellaneous. And it just wraps around like that to the top of the bed. I've got live documents in the little bookcase there. That's the only bookcase here that doesn't have books on it. All the Patrick O'Brian novels are together there, but other than that... another thematic thing, that top shelf underneath Erasmus is paperback releases of things that I read in hardcover. But some of them are paperback releases of things that I don't particularly want anymore. So, and there is the closet. There's a long, deep, narrow closet in this room that runs all the way to the back of the house. And I could never figure out what to do with it. I don't have enough stuff to put in a closet. And it's too narrow for books. It doesn't have an electricity outlet of any kind, so you can't use it as a place to sleep. So I just walled it off. I just walled it off to make this room. So you've got the ceiling fan, the plants, the MacBook, the monk's bed, and on the floor, let me see if we can do this. On the floor, you have blankets for Frida, and also a power strip that is hanging from a bookcase because I still haven't fixed all of those. I went years where my girls were old and incontinent, and they would pee and poop whenever. They often didn't know they were doing it, and you can't have power strips on the floor if that's true, so I started hanging all the power strips. And there you go. That is, those are the books as objects that mean the most to me in this little monk's room here. These are the books that I come back to over and over again. I prowl these shelves for Shakespeare, or Montaigne, or Genji, or my Penguin Classics, or just anything like that. I prowl these shelves all the time. Whereas I mostly visit the other shelves. I don't prowl them. I don't consult them. Like, for instance, here you see, look at that. Those are all my profession. Those are all people who have made books of book reviews that are, there you see the Essential Gore Vidal and the John Updike have already found their places onto these shelves. But so I find myself standing in front of this bookcase all the time, pulling down what people thought about certain things, looking for a particular quote or whatever that I may or may not use. And same thing with all these others. There's some fiction in this room. I go back to that more often than I do the fiction in the other room. The only detail that needs to change for this room, as you can see here, can you see? Yeah, right there. See, on this bookcase here, there is some open space. There's also open space up on the top there next to that plant. There's just a couple of books up there. So there is room to expand in this room. And also, technically, I should get those trade paperbacks out of here unless I like the book. They shouldn't be here just because of format. So my point being, there is room for expansion here. There is room for more books in this room. This room is not free from pruning and shifting. It happens at a massively rapid pace elsewhere in the place, but it happens here too, glacially slower. But this room still does change from year to year, just depending on what I want to keep and what I'm prioritizing. So more books could fit in here, and the goal for my relationship with books as physical objects is to find the books that belong in this room, instead of the gambles or the might-be's or the maybes or whatever that don't fit in this room, that are never going to come in here and stay, that I'm just curious about. So you notice, for instance, although this is the place where I spend all my time, this is not where my all the advanced copies that we see every day here on this channel, this is not where they are. Because I don't even know, 1 in 200 of them will make it in here, if that. You can see a couple behind me that have made it in here, some new books, an Aeneid, an Odyssey, but mostly not. Mostly not. So those are elsewhere. These are the books I need to live, not the books I need to work. And the only difference, the only thing that needs to change in this room, you've got my, that's where I sit and work when I'm not on the couch. And there's the digital clock that I bought when I was in Vermont. I found a used digital clock. It was exactly right. I wanted a digital clock. I thought I'd have to settle for red letters, but this is blue, which is ideal. And the only thing that has to change here, once I get access to some muscular teenagers, is that an air conditioner needs to go in that window. Just in case. Just in case. I can't imagine it getting warm enough to need it, but just in case. The last thing you want to do is put an air conditioner in when it's 100 degrees. So better to put it in early. The next time I have a pool of semi-willing workers, I will do that. But there you go. That is this room. Those are, I really liked Adam's reminder that we are all collectors of books. That's just another thing that unites us all. I'm not picky about my books. They're not there. If you were to get a closer look at the ones that I've shown you here, a lot of them are not in the best of shape. I am hard on my books, and I'm also not picky about where I put them. Yes, all the book reviews are collected because I go to those bookcases a lot. And if I go there and I find out that, you know, Mark Twain's collected book essays are not there, then I go and find that and put it there. But otherwise, on these shelves, you will see an incredible variety. I don't even know if you can make out. You've got Shakespeare and Orwell and a novel of Spartacus and the Divine Comedy and Forever Amber, and that just goes on throughout this room. This room, I don't care about organizing my books the way I've been seeing videos. Good Lord, it seems like way too much trouble. And I don't know why that is. Maybe I just get too many books, so that I'd be constantly rearranging things if I ordered them like that. But then again, a lot of you get a lot of books too. It may be that I just don't care. I just don't care about that sort of thing. It'd be horrifying to some of you, I know, but nevertheless, I want to second Adam's call. If those of you hadn't seen the video, I'll leave a link to it down below, but I imagine more of you have seen it than have seen this video. But I want to second his call at the end of his video, right before he shows nauseating footage of domesticated cats. And also, elsewhere in his video, on his own bookshelves, he shows nauseating footage of bookshelves being used for something other than books. Cool. I'm just waiting until the day when that plant can go and there can be books up there. But at the end of his video, he calls for everybody who has a BookTube channel to do this. Not so much a bookshelf tour. We're not going book by book, but rather sort of a look at a description of your bookshelves just in general, your bookshelves just as places. I think that's a great idea. I second his call that everybody do that. It's a fantastic way to snoop. So I'm going to wrap this up for now. I hope that this isn't too shaky. I never do stuff like this. But I will be resuming regularly bookish content almost immediately. Thank you, BookTube.